what would you suggest to them if they wouldn't be able to watch any of your content?
What do you want to be remembered by when you leave this beautiful planet?
Damn, dude, this one's hard. Become great, seek the truth, and be happy. Dude, you know what's funny though? Like, I don't think about legacy that much. I am hiring more for like a startup role. I actually think that people that don't have these university degrees can get a lot more roles, in fact, than somebody that does have a university degree. Here's why. In order to do that in like that freedom way, you know what I mean? Because like I've met people that make a lot of money as investment bankers, and that tends to only occur when you take this sort of entrepreneurial route where you don't go into those universities. I think ultimately what I would say is it depends on the type of person you are. They've like psyoped themselves to think that that lack of freedom is what they desire. I think that's bullshit, and I know because they sell courses to these people.
Welcome, entrepreneurs, to the Student to Startup podcast. Today, we have a very, very special guest. Me and Etele have started this podcast. This is our second clip. And we today have Timothy on the podcast. Timothy, please introduce yourselves to our watchers and viewers.
Awesome. What's up, guys? My name is Tim Yoon. I guess you could call me like a growth operator or somebody that goes to certain influencers, coaches, and scales their businesses to 100 grand. We've done our highest business that we've gotten to was 330 grand. And I took my own coaching program to 113 grand a month in like 5 months. I'm 20 years old now. And yeah, I guess for your guys' audience, I was in school maybe like 2 years ago at a university called UCLA. And since then, you know, I've been able to change my life, travel the world, been to Dubai, Miami, lived in Miami for like 4 months, here in Colombia. I think I've been to like almost 20-ish countries now, like Thailand, Singapore, Bali, you know, so it's been a good life, been a good ride.
Absolutely, man. And obviously, me and Etele will touch on this later on, but UCLA, I just wanted to mention and quickly step in there. That's a really good university with a very low acceptance rate and a low probability for you to get in. So what do you think you did to be able to differentiate yourself and get into such a university? And then adding on to that, how much has it helped you in achieving what you have and being able to travel, etc.?
I think it hasn't helped me at all because I went there for 2 weeks and then I dropped out. But the actual the preparation to go there was actually what made me who I really am. Because, you know, being like an Asian American kid, I'm Korean actually. You know, your parents really want you to hit like high levels, right? Want you to be,
Yeah.
for me, it was a doctor. My dad, my uncle, my 2 other uncles, and my 2 other cousins are all doctors.
Yeah.
And so like my life was really set for me, right? But, you know, I think like a lot of us here that are watching this podcast, like I think even you guys too, I didn't want to do that, right? I really wanted to do something different. And so, yeah, I think the preparation there, I actually went to this school. It's a test prep school. It's called like a magnet school called Oxford Academy. It's the top, I think 14th best school in all of California or all of the US, and top second best school in all of California. And California is like renowned for really good education.
Absolutely, yeah.
And so, you know, I went through that entire process, getting into that school at like 7th grade when I was 13 years old. I went through like this entire preparation to get there where I had to, I went to this academy called Pace Academy, kind of like name dropping them.
Yeah.
But I was like the dumbest kid there when I first entered, like all super smart, all like little geniuses that I'm like competing against in that preparation school, or preparation like post academy after school, and like day in, day out. I think it was like 2 straight years. I'll go to school, go to academy, sleep, go to school, go to academy, sleep, and just like grind throughout that entire process, which then got me into Oxford Academy. Then getting into, I was like the dumbest kid. At the end, when I graduated, I think I was like top 4%. You know, I was the top 4% out of my entire graduating class. No, sorry, top 0.4% of my entire graduating class. So like you know, getting to the top, which then allowed me to get into UCLA as like a, you know, Asian American. And I don't say this to brag, right? But I say this hopefully to inspire, you know, the people that are watching this, right? That I think that preparation really was what allowed me to focus and crush it in business. And maybe if you guys are watching this, who are kind of like going towards that initial path and like you really did well in school, not even academically, but just like through even sports or some other way that like showed mastery when you're younger, I think that really does a good job translating from when you want to become like a student to really doing the startup, like you guys have called your podcast.
Yeah,
Mhm. Yeah.
100%. Okay, so you have had me with my business as well. I think like multiple times
Mm.
in the past, and personally, I know most of what you are doing. But for the viewers and for Louis as well here,
Yeah.
could you tell us a bit more about like what business you do and how did you get into that, and a bit more about like those things, you know?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, really to understand the business that I'm doing now, you kind of have to understand where my business journey first started. And that was actually at 14 years old.
Mm.
Um, that was, I think, when I really had self-realization because I've now gotten into Oxford Academy my entire life. Like I've really committed to getting into that school. And I would say after a year of being there, I'm like kind of turning my head and coming to more self-awareness because, right, because it's 13 to age 14. And now I'm like, what did I do this for? Like, why did I try this hard to like get into this school and then become a doctor that my parents want me to do, which I never wanted to do in the first place, which then I'm gonna do that to then go to school for another 10 years, then to finally make money. And I'm like, but isn't the point of all this to make money, right?
Absolutely.
And like have a life of freedom and have a life of success and, have fun here and there with the money as well. And so I'm like, when I went through this thought process, I'm just like, what am I doing? Right. And so back then was 2017, I think. And that was when Supreme, you see sneaker reselling, you see Bape, you see all these things like blowing up, Off-White, right? Virgil Abloh, founder of or CEO of Off-White, was not dead back then. And so, rest in peace. I don't know why I said that. But anyway, and so all these things are like really big and trending. And that's when I got into sneaker reselling. I tried that. I think I made like some TikToks and Instagram videos here and there, but it didn't do too well. I just made like a few grand here and there. Then I was like 15 years old trying sneaker or yard sale reselling. Gary Vee, I don't know if you guys know, it's like an older
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
guru,
yeah, of course.
um, older Alex Hormozy, if you want to call it. But like he really likes to talk about going to yard sales, like buying like Nintendo DSs or like video games and then flipping on eBay, which I did that also like I would buy a freaking, I don't know, like a little old iPhone, not like this brand new one, like an old iPhone for like maybe $100 and you flip it for like $150, like really hustling, right? Completely failed, like didn't make it that much money either. Then I tried drop shipping at 16 years old. Obviously, everyone knows drop shipping here.
Yeah.
Didn't do too
Everyone's tried
well.
it.
Then I did NFTs at 17 years old. That was like big trend, like just following all the trends, right? Being kind of like a sheep in the herd, and also didn't make any money. And so it's like trying all these things. I think while I was like that, I was still like not sure if I wanted to commit to school or whatnot. But then it was like 18 years old, man, January 2023, which I was like, oh shoot, I really have to make something work. Because I was 18 years old and I'd now gotten into UCLA. My entire like high school career, I've been like trying to make something work. None of it worked out. And now October 2023, I would be shipped off to UCLA and it's over. Like now I just have to go to college. And so I'm like locking in, like I have to make something work. And so I started this YouTube channel. Now if you guys look up Tim Yoon 2, Yoon, and then the number 2 on YouTube, you can find my old channel where I started this YouTube channel. I was like, okay, I'm gonna try as many different business models until one of them sticks. And so again, like this is like every single month now I would try, like I committed to YouTube saying that, guys, I'm gonna make something work. And so I tried drop shipping, again, failed, right? I tried, what did I try? I tried high ticket sales. I think a lot of people are trying that, completely failed as well. I tried different AI side hustles, didn't work. And then one thing changed my life. I did a SMA or like a content agency, but then back then SMA was more popular, social media marketing agency.
Yeah.
And so I tried that, but it wasn't actually like that. I made $1,000 in that video. It's like, it wasn't that changed my life. It was the video going viral that changed my life. It's now sitting at like 47,000 views. And wow, like I met tons just right after that video. Like my Instagram, dude, I want to sleep, right? I wake up and it's like, honestly, I thought the video would fucking bomb. Like when I was editing, I was like, dude, this is not going to do well. And then wake up, I go to sleep, I think it was like 100 views, wake up 10K, right? Go to school, because then I was still going to school. Then like check at lunchtime, 20K. I'm just like, what the fuck? Like it was just going up, right? But the bigger thing is I check my Instagram. I CTA to my Instagram in that YouTube video, just like connect with people.
Yeah.
Boom. Like agency owners doing like 100 grand a month, 200 grand a month. One guy doing like 48 million a year, like making bank. And I'm like, bro, this is crazy. Like I just started getting connected to all these huge people because the video was like so impactful. It was very like an emotional story. If you guys want to watch it, if you look up I tried SMMA for 30 days on YouTube, it's like the first or one of the first ones that'll pop up.
Mhm.
Um,
You know that.
and yeah, it did really well. And basically, the biggest thing was that I got to meet Abdul, or this guy named Abdul Faroki, and then this guy named Will, who were both doing like a really interesting business model, which is essentially where you go to creators, you go to influencers, and you partner up with them. And then you launch their coaching programs. Or like you launch their, I guess like back then we did like school groups, right? And so, yeah, I saw what they were doing. And I was like, oh, wow, this is a really good business. Because with Will, he was like a more beginner business owner. And he went from 0 to 20K though in like 3 months. And I was
Wow.
like, oh, wow, that's pretty good. And
Yeah.
then I saw Abdul, who I met, um, who actually he connected with me because he wanted me to help him out with his content. He saw that my video was doing well. And he's like, oh, this guy's pretty good at content, right? But this guy was doing like $48 million a year, like, multi-millionaire. And then also he was doing the same exact business model, like doing, I think it was like, yeah, going to creators. He did like 4 or 5 different offers at like $1 million a month, $2 million a month,
Yeah.
like info coaching offers. And if you guys don't know what that is, I can explain it more later, right? But essentially just know it's a good business model. You make a lot of money. And
Absolutely.
so I saw these two guys. I'm like, bro, this business model is crazy. And so I saw Will, and then I partnered up with him actually because I knew kind of like you guys did, right? Because I knew a lot of creators from the YouTube channel, and then I also what else? And I just understood more about the creator economy. I knew how to like really relationship build well with these different influencers, and so we did that. We partnered up, and then this is kind of where life really changes because during this time, essentially, I partnered up, whatever, but like I was still kind of doing YouTube, not really making anything work out. The content agency didn't get that to really big heights as well. And then the big change though was when we partnered together.
Yeah.
And he was more doing the sales and operations side. I took care of more of like the client communications, content side. And then we scaled our first offer from 0 to 31.3 grand in 3 days. In the UGC market, it's like girls that teach other girls how to make content for like different big brands like Neutrogena or like Lululemon or like these female brands, and then sell the content and they make some money, right?
Mhm.
And so yeah, we got that offer to 31 grand in 3 days. The next one we got to like 48 grand a month, like MRR in 4 months. And yeah, that was a pretty large launch as well. But then
Mhm.
we were mainly doing these with like school communities, right? SKOOL. Sorry for yapping so much, but I'm almost done here. School communities. And so essentially,
Yeah.
that one did really well with the school communities, or school communities were a big trend, I would say, like last year.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
I was a part of that too. I know what you're talking about. It was very,
yeah,
very.
Alex Hermosi's talking about it, right? Things like that. And so, um, yeah, the first point where we were like pretty early to capitalize on it. We were like doing these coaching programs, whatever. And then I would say towards like beginning, okay, and so now like by the way, just like bring it back down to life, right? At this point, we've scaled these creators. I think like right around when we did like the first launch, also kind of before I was making some decent money with the content agency, that allowed me to drop out, right? Drop out of UCLA. That allowed me to now start traveling the world. So I first went to like Thailand, Japan, or I went Japan, Thailand, Vietnam. I just like was around Asia, and now I'm like living the online money lifestyle, right? Um, but yeah, I don't want to go too nitty gritty, but essentially from there, we saw a big opportunity in the coaching program, or like coaching what we're doing, right? Which is this growth operating model where you launch these school communities for these creators. And so then we did that in business. We got that to 113 grand a month in coaching. And then now I'm more focused back on operating myself with my team. And yeah, we're scaling different offers and whatnot.
And
But that kind of gets into more complex stuff. But yeah, that's the high level.
that's very interesting, Tim. And I genuinely mean that. It's a very interesting story that you got into UCLA and then you dropped out. Also astonishing. And we'll move on to some questions about university later on. But what I saw is you mentioned how you tried all these business models. And what I see is that the biggest mistake young entrepreneurs make when they're 14, 15 is following the crowd, following the sheep, trying all these different business models, drop shipping, coaching, All these things that while everyone else does will be very, very hard to stand out in. Why? Because there's competition. So if you can tell us about
Mhm.
how and why you decided that YouTube is the one route to go with instead of, say, drop shipping, that I think would be very interesting. How did you know that you found your sauce? You found the one thing that allows you to differentiate yourself from all the competition. Because I know social media. He knows social media even better than me. And we both know that. Is it competitive?
Yes.
It's very competitive. So tell us why and how you figured out that's your niche.
Yeah, good question, man.
Thank you.
I think that it wasn't that I found it.
Hmm.
It's almost like it all connected together. And
I
Steve
love that.
Jobs always talks about how you connect the dots backwards,
Hmm.
right? So I didn't really know at that point that was what was really the thing that I can focus on, right? But I would even say social media or YouTube was like the main business model because I don't really consider myself a professional YouTuber. You know what
Okay,
I mean? I consider myself more of a business owner,
fair enough.
more of an entrepreneur, sorry. But I think what ended up making it be so useful though, because it really exploded my career, right? How I talked about that one video really went viral and then I was able to, really change my life from it. Why that was actually because when you're in the sauce, like when you're in the trenches, you don't know how it connects. But after you're out, you see it backwards. And so when I was doing like sneaker reselling, I actually created TikToks. If you look up OCHYP hype D, like OC hyped, um, on there on TikTok, it's like 300 followers or whatever. And on Instagram, it's the same at, right? But I made content to actually get customers to sell my sneakers to.
Yeah.
When I was doing yard sale reselling, I would take like really good pictures with like really solid lighting of the images, which actually led me to get higher sell-through rates on eBay. With drop shipping, my favorite part was actually creating the content with the ads.
Yeah,
And with NFTs, actually, I got a lot of whitelists. Whitelists are basically like an early waitlist,
yeah.
right? That you can get in order to buy an NFT when it drops so you can resell it for more money.
Hmm.
I actually got those through making videos as well. Uh, I made videos and I would like reach out to the founders
Mhm.
of the NFT projects to get those whitelists. And so I realized why I was able to do so well with that one video and make it blow up was because of the experience before that ultimately led it to pay off later. And so
Hmm.
the work that, and you have to really think like for those of you guys who are in the trenches, like grinding hard, even you guys as well, who feel like you're not being able to, you're not seeing the fruits of your labor yet. The work you do now, you often see it pay off later. And so even when you're doing well, you have to realize that, oh wait, I got to double down. I got to still lock in now because the results you're getting now is from the work you did earlier. Remember that. And when you're even winning or if you're losing, just keep working hard because it'll always keep paying off.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
And for entrepreneurs who are like not getting into business, but who already have like a side hustle
Hmm.
or a little business that they are trying to do and they are making like 1 to 2K per month, but they are stagnating there, like what would you suggest for them? Because you were in a same position as well for months with like drop shipping, reselling, and like all these business models. But you got into YouTube and that really changed everything for you. Like, would you suggest for them to do the same, or knowing what you know now, would you suggest something else?
Yeah, good question. I would tell all of them to just shiny object and then go right into YouTube or right into whatever they see people doing.
Okay.
No, I'm playing, bro. I'm joking. No, I think they should. Did you guys get that?
I
I didn't
No,
get it, to be
because it's
honest.
like a business first principle to never shiny object and like never distract and just focus on what you're doing.
Yeah, but is YouTube really a shiny
That's what
object,
I'm thinking.
or
No. I get what you're saying. Like the first principle, and I'll explain first principles. Actually, I don't need to explain first principle really, but it's like what is the fundamental piece that you guys are talking about that connects everything, right? You're really talking about how does what should they do when they're like locked in on what they're doing now and should they pivot or whatnot. I think it okay, and they're stuck, right? I think it really depends on what stage of self-awareness they're at. So that's like a framework that I have about like the journey of entrepreneurship as I've like gone through it on the level of how aware you become. Um,
hmm?
is as you grow. Here's what I mean, right? Because like when you're starting out, you're not aware that you're like even doing something that's right or wrong in accordance to business principles, right? And that means I need to explain business principles, which is like typical laws and typical like foundational pieces that you should follow, right? Like here's a business foundational or like a probably like a beginner mindset foundational principle that you guys probably know, which is like um, don't jerk off, like don't goon, right? Or don't eat like junk food. You guys know that, right? You guys don't do that, right? I think like most people that watch this know that as well. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? To not do those bad things because they're like usually on that self-improvement
You're
journey.
self-aware, yeah.
But what I would say
Yeah.
exactly, and
Yeah.
so in business, there are like similar things as well. Of things like don't jump from business to business, right? Don't distract yourself, right? Just focus on the thing that you're supposed to do. But then when you're starting out, you don't have that awareness, right? Like when you, even me, when I was like jumping from yard service or drop shipping, all these different things, I wasn't aware that that wasn't a bad thing to do. You know what I mean? Is it starting to click?
Uh,
Kind of?
yeah.
No, no, absolutely. I understand what you're saying, and I tell you what add on to what I'm saying. But what we find interesting is that you're completely right. Young entrepreneurs should not go from one spot to another without having of without they should really focus in on one thing. They should narrow in and go all in onto what they're doing.
Yes, but that's exactly the
However,
point I'm making, right? Like I would say later when you've like when I would say you've committed yourself to like 3 to 6 months to something.
exactly.
However, if you're like starting out and you're really trying to figure out what you need to do and what you like, I would recommend like just try a bunch of different things
That's what I was gonna say. You
because
should have a fine
I
set.
did. Yep, yep.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the conclusion there.
Yeah.
Okay, then with considering that, I want to just quickly shift back to your UCLA and getting into those universities. I myself, I'm 17. I'll be applying. I'm currently working on my Common App essay. It's something that I'm super hot on
Oh
right now.
shit,
I spent my whole
let's
summer
go.
doing all that. We've got a high SAT, we're in the 1550s. I've got 44 to 45.
Wow,
So
holy shit,
I'm almost ready, but that's what I'm gonna ask
good
you. Like,
work.
do you have any advice for me? Obviously, you've gone into a great university. I'd love to go to UCLA. So, what do you think
Mm,
made you stand out so much? Especially, I've heard that it's hard for Asians to get into UCLA. So, how come you did? What did
yes,
you do? And what do you have
yes.
as a word of advice for me, as someone that about to go through the same process as you?
Interesting. I would ask you a question. Do you want to go to college and why?
Oh, absolutely. Why do I want to go to college? Because it gives you the name of the university. When you go and you have Stanford or Harvard behind you, your credibility will skyrocket. Moreover, all these universities have incredible, immaculate networking. You're going to be around young entrepreneurs, millionaires, kids of billionaires, kids of politicians, lawyers, and future
True.
engineers, tech startups, etc. Being around those people will 100% give you many opportunities, which, if you don't go to university, may be more restricted. That's why I think, for me personally,
Interesting.
it's worth it. But how come you dropped out?
Interesting.
And how did you get in there in the
Hmm.
first? It's kind of something I found really interesting. If you could explain that to me and the viewers, I'd love to hear
Yeah.
what made you differentiate yourself.
Good point. Dude, I think it depends on the person. Like,
Hmm.
I'll answer your first question. I'll answer your second question, right? So the first question that you asked was, should I, or what advice do you have for getting into
Yeah.
universities? I think for me, it was writing a cohesive story. And I know this actually because I'm actually coaching one of my friends who like got into Brown, right? Brown's like a really high
Yeah,
level
yeah,
Ivy
Ivy League.
League. And he actually has a coaching program teaching other people how to get into university right now, right? It's called Vantage Academy or something
Hmm.
on Facebook. And so the funny thing is, it's kind of come full circle now, right? Where I kind of used to hate on universities, and now I'm like helping him do a coaching program that talks about it. Anyway, the big point though is like he helps these students get into universities. He's
Yeah.
like really cracked. Right? And so what I would say there, the tip is like creating a cohesive narrative. For me, it was a cohesive narrative around being like this Asian kid, but then actually being somebody who was more rebellious and still was able to grit it out and find my way entrepreneurially, which like set me
I know
actually
what you mean.
apart. I think that's where the question is, right? But now to answer your second question, which I think your people or your audience would care more about, who's watching this,
Yeah.
is the question of like, okay, great. So like, even if I could sort of make this journey, like how would I go about balancing university and trying to do this business thing too? I would
Absolutely.
say it really depends on the person. Like for me, I was a risk taker. I mean, I still am a risk taker. I'm just like, I don't care. I'm just do it, right? Even getting to a good university like UCLA, I just like, I don't care, right? I'm gonna just do it. And I also think like in the principles of focus, you know what I mean? I like to, because you only have so much energy, right? Think about it. If you have 10 inches of energy, you know what I mean? Okay, or not like anything weird, but just 10 inches of energy, right?
Yeah.
Can you put your energy, your 10 inches, into drop shipping, into SMA, into TikTok shop, into what are people thinking about these days? High ticket sales, into AI agency, right? Into all these things. Yes or no? Right? Like, no, not really. Because you're just gonna spread yourself too thin and you don't have enough energy. Versus, like, if you just focus your energy onto one thing, right? Just agency,
Yeah.
or just college, or just business, then how much more would you get yield out of that? How much more success would you
Yeah.
have from that one thing, right? And so I thought through that principle, and I'm like, if my long-term vision that I see is just focusing in on business, why would I waste my time going to college?
Hmm.
Why would I put that 2 inches of energy into that girl and then only, or 5 instead of, 10, all in on that person. Or I mean, not person, we're not talking about people, all in on that thing, right? All on that business to get you to where you want to get to. And so you have to really ask yourself, like, yeah, there's all these benefits for sure, but like, where is that going to lead you after you have those benefits though
Yeah.
during
In the
that time?
future.
Like, what's the goal? What's that time period after there? If it's more like, I would say, if it's fit for like doctor, engineer, lawyer, sure, do it. But if it's like entrepreneurship, like, I don't know. I don't know if it really be worth it.
Hmm. Okay. What about Berkeley? How's that for you for entrepreneurship?
It's not the school, bro. Like, I actually have three of my good friends that go to Berkeley right now.
Hmm.
Actually, my cousin went to Berkeley as well because, like, very academic family.
Yeah.
It's super liberal, bro. Like, this is a whole other conversation, but it's very woke. And if you want to turn gay, go there, but be careful. Then again, I'm biased. I'm like outside of the university area, so I don't know. If you want to debate about it, sure, but that's whatever.
No, no, no.
At the end of the day, I would say like choose your own path. I shouldn't influence you on that, you know?
No, no, absolutely, absolutely. I was interested to hear what you have to say and what wisdom you have to shine onto our audience. Anyway, moving on to
Sure.
another question.
Yeah, it's funny because Luis here is like yin and I am more like yang,
Mhm.
like white and black. I'm
Yeah.
personally don't really even go to high school, and I'm not really planning to like go to uni. So I'm almost like
Right.
the exact opposite to him.
Yeah.
But I
Right.
do agree with some points that he has, and I wanted to
Yeah.
ask you.
Let's convince Lewis to drop out of
No, 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 no.
the
But
Whoa,
process
whoa,
right now.
whoa, whoa.
Let's go
Let's
psyop
not
him.
do that.
I I do think that what Lewis is planning has a lot of meaning to it, and I
Yeah.
do believe in his vision, and I'm supporting him as well. But what I wanted to ask
Yeah.
is kind of the opposite of what Lewis asked, is to what do you suggest for people who are not really planning to go to uni and who just want to lock in on business and
Mm,
this online entrepreneur like lifestyle?
what age would you say they are? Like, who were we talking
16,
to here?
17, maybe
16, 17? Okay, and they're just about they're almost finished with high school, and they're
yeah.
like, I don't know if I should go to college, is the range?
So junior,
Good
junior
question.
year.
Good question. I would say if you already are having these thoughts and you're already on this podcast, because like if you're on this podcast, that's a sign, right? That's already a sign that like your brain and your algorithm is like trained with this stuff and you're wanting to watch this stuff, right?
Yeah.
Drop out. Like I genuinely regret wasting my time at high school. I made my brother drop out, by the way, just so you know like how convicted I'm at this.
Mhm.
He's six. I made him drop out at 16 as well, right? Um, and now he's actually doing this growth operating business or whatever the fuck you shoot this children here, whatever you want to call it, right? That you go to creators and you partner up with them, right? Or coaches, whatever. Um, that's what I would say. Like it doesn't. It's I don't see very much utility
Mhm.
that I've gained on the theoretical stuff. Of course, other than like the principles and the discipline that I gained, right? To put in the hard work, to stay committed to my work and things like that. But other than that, I don't think I really gained that much. I think I've grown much more over the past 3 years than I've gained, or then I've grown in the last 4 years. And if you really think about the first principle, all of these things are just vehicles for you to grow, right? School, it's there for you to grow, become better. Unless you don't want to do that, and you just want to be a degenerate, that's fine. Like go to university and have those, 4 years of fun. Like have sex, bang a lot of chicks, drink a lot. That's fine. But like at least for people on this podcast, I don't think they're like that, right? And so yeah, even with you guys are making me thirsty. And even with business, yeah, thank you. With business, the same thing. It's just a vehicle for you to grow, whether you're at home, whether you're anywhere. It's just you're doing something that will then ultimately make you grow as a person. And so, if that is your goal, at least personally for me, I found that working on business, made me grow.
That was your
more.
passion, absolutely. Yeah, makes perfect sense.
One second, let me get some sparkling fancy water as well. Fuck you guys.
Absolutely, man.
I could look fancy like you guys too.
Come on.
All right, we got it, baby.
Mhm.
We got it. Okay, go for it.
Okay. So next thing that I'm personally curious about is that yes, you made all this money growth operating and you are still doing this, but what are your plans for the future?
Mm.
Like, what do you
Yeah.
do next after this? Like, do you even want to change something, or would you just want to stick to this and become like the number one guy in the space?
Yeah, great question, bro. Really the long term, I have like a short term, midterm, and long term vision,
Mhm.
right? The short term one is to double down on this on the agency and get as much cash flow as possible. Because essentially what our model is, right? You go to like coaching programs, you take a percentage of that business, and these things scale from like recently, for instance, the one that we got is 330 grand. We did it in 3 months, right? 0, 100 grand in 1 month, 200 grand the next month, 330 the next month, right? And so we take a percentage of that, like 30%. That's like good money. You know what I mean? And so these things you're able to like pull out a lot of money versus like other businesses where you can't. That's a whole nother concept, but essentially that is really good for what's called cash flow, like having money coming in. And then my midterm plan after that is to invest, but not like how typical people think about it. It's not real estate. It's not a software.
Is it?
It's not some sort of AI. It's not Airbnb or anything like that.
Mhm.
How I see it, it's not stocks. It's not any of these things.
Venture capitalism.
Actually,
So,
what's up?
Is it investing into startups? Venture capitalism.
It's not even venture capital.
it-
It's actually investing into my brand.
Okay.
I see that as the ultimate investment.
I love that.
Because you have to, when I think about, I just want to go on a little bit of a side tangent here, but I think it's useful for people. When you want to think about investing, I always tell people like invest into what you know, right? Typical answer. However, people don't think like, what can I invest into that I know that is not a typical investment that people think is like, okay, I'm investing into this, right?
that's
And I
interesting.
think brand is like something that people don't think about. I think even you, Etele, you know the power of this, right? Because you already have like, I think a few 100,000 subscribers or followers on Instagram. I think you, Louis, I mean, you're here with Etele. I don't know you too well. We should probably get to know each other after this. I'm sure you have some followers somewhere as well,
I have
right? And so like,
200,000 in total. So yes, you're correct.
exactly, amazing, right? Even me with my more micro brand, I have like what, 14,000, 15,000, right? And like the benefit there though that I've really seen is that I make like 5 hour, 10 hour courses, like a 5 hour course, or I used to make 5 hour, 10 hour courses. A 5 hour course that I have now has like 33,000 views on it. And bro, when people will come on, like people like text me on Instagram, like I get like love letters. You know what I mean?
I love
Like when
that.
I hop on a call, a few of my friends, like I've actually met a few people in person that are like coming up to me, right? And like saying what's up. Of course, like then again, it's my hometown,
Yeah.
whatever, but still people are coming up to me, right? And when I've seen the power of like how obsessed people get with the long form. And so I've noticed that like how do you invest in your brand, right? It's taking your capital and investing into the team, right? Investing into editors, investing into thumbnail designers, and then making that grow. And that's really where I see my midterm being. And the real long term is actually like a more of a venture studio model. And then yes, as you were talking about, Luce, as well, like the venture capital, right? And so how you do that in the future is I don't know if you see like Alex Hormozy or Cody Sanchez or Dan Martell, like really big gurus. Essentially, all of these guys, even Gary Vee, their business model, they have content and
Yeah.
then and then they have a holding company in the back end. That's like their main business model. And
Mhm.
so with that holding company, they invest into businesses. They pour their venture capital into other ways. And so my plan is to get really good at marketing and sales with these coaching programs right now. And then eventually invest into these other companies. Like Alex Moisey did the same thing, right? He bought like 10 dentist chains recently, or like dentist, like when you guys go to the dentist, like
Yeah.
he bought those buildings, bought those businesses. And then now like he's rolling them up and then like scaling them in some other way. And so I really see like doing something similar in the future, but maybe more with tech and coaching businesses, but I'm not sure yet. I don't know. But that's really like that midterm where I'm just going to focus on cash flow, or sorry, short term where I focus on cash flow, midterm where I focus on my brand and investing the cash flow in my brand, and then the long term, which I focused on using that brand to then get the best deals, invest into them, and then make more that way.
Yeah.
And I couldn't help but notice that you mentioned right now the temporary short-term goal. A lot of it consists of making that large sum of money that you can then work with, reinvest. And I completely agree with you. That's pretty much every entrepreneur's first goal. Make that big sum of money and then work with it. Because as you know, and everyone else knows, money makes money for you. If you make money work for you, you're going to
Mm,
continue to make money. You're going to make passive income, especially with real estate. And that's going to make you
mhm.
money in the long run without costing you hours. And because of that and that whole logic behind the fact that if you can get money and have it not be an exchange of your hours and your labor and your time, you have that freedom, right? And that's the freedom that you want and that I want and that you want that everyone else wants, right? Do you agree? So,
100%.
my logic behind that is if we all want that freedom, what's stopping us from pursuing it instead of through making money and entrepreneurship and business? Instead, in a more bipolar, not as popular method. For example, I recently read this article, very popular, specifically around Berkeley, where people would basically, instead of going through all this work to then go ahead and have a lot of money and retire at 60, so that they end up on the beach chilling all day, people can just go to the beach right away and chill all day at 22 without having to make any
Mm,
money. You see what I mean? So, what
mm.
is your perspective on that? If you, I mean, let me rephrase so that it's a bit easier
Is
for.
that your goal to be fucking lazy?
It's not my goal, but it's a lot of people's goals. It's a lot of people's mindsets, and that's what I want you to approach. Why would I spend all this time putting in all this
Mm,
money and hard work and effort to be able to retire at 60, because that's what 9 to 5s do to you, to then end up on the
mm.
beach chilling all day, when instead you could do that at 21 without having to put all that work, just to end up doing the exact same thing with
What do
almost
you, okay, wait,
that
okay.
same
Let me
amount
get
of
your
money
question clear.
back.
So let me get your question clear. So are you saying that we should go and chill now at 21 without working, or like
Absolutely
work?
not. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'm saying
Mm,
that is what a 9 to 5 would do to you. 9 to 5 would have you end up doing the same thing you could be doing at 21 with the same conditions, but at 60 with your whole life stolen because you spent all your time working for someone else, where the only person that reaps the benefits is the person at the top. That is my opinion.
okay.
And what I want to get to know from
So
you
you're
is
saying like, shouldn't we work now, work 2, 3 years to then like make internet money and then chill?
exactly my logic is why does nobody see how 9 to 5 is a trap that will steal that time from you? Because that's what it is. That's what it's going to do to you.
Okay. No, fair enough. Yeah, it's insights, right? They're just not familiar that they can do this. But I think what's more interesting is, are you trying to, which one are you saying? I'm just trying to get your A or B, right? So is your A that you're not doing any work and then you could chill? Because some people live like that too. I actually met a kid in Bali who like
Mhm.
goes for like half a year to like a banana farm and then makes like a few bucks an hour, and then the rest of the half a year he like broke travels. So he like goes to all the other countries and then spends like $2 a day on like shitty ass food, and he
Yeah.
still has that. Or are you talking about that?
No, my A to B is the fact that my A to B is I have a problem with 9 to 5s and how nobody realizes that what 9 to 5s do is steal that time from you.
Mm,
That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying people should go lazy. I'm saying
got it. I mean, I agree. I don't know like what else is the conversation.
yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Etele now has a really interesting question for you, Tim.
So if all your content, all your brands, all your stuff on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok
Everything.
would completely like disappear and you wouldn't have anything out there, like what would be your number one tip, your number one suggestion for people watching this video right here? Like what would you suggest and what would want people to actually know you for?
Oh, to know me for.
Both of those, yeah. Like, first of all, the first part, what would you suggest for them?
To
Like
do.
a piece of suggestion. And
So, okay, is the question that I am going and working? Or sorry, is the question that I am going? So is the question like, what would I do, or what do you think they should do if they lost everything?
would you suggest to them if they wouldn't be able to watch any of your content? That's the first part. So what would you
Any of my content, as in like if they didn't know me?
yeah, so if all of your YouTube videos, if all of your Instagram
Oh,
reels,
like what do I want to be remembered for? Is what you're saying?
yes.
Oh, it's like the Alex Ramosi question that Jack
Yeah,
Neal asked, right?
yeah.
Got it, got it, got it. Okay, okay. Okay, so re-ask that and then I'll answer it.
All right, now the question, this is a Atele's question specifically. We want to know, what do you want to be remembered by? When you leave this beautiful planet, what do you want to be your legacy? And what do you suggest or recommend everyone's goal to be with their legacy? It's very personal, but what do you think everyone should have at least a tint of? I guess to start you off, to give you some, for
Dude, this
me,
one's hard.
no,
This
it
one's
is hard.
super hard, actually.
I'll try to help you out. I'll try to help you out. I'll tell you what mine is, right? For me, I want to be able to
Mm.
make as much money as possible while having as good of an impact on as many people as possible. That's my goal. That's my goal.
Mm.
When I started a startup, I have a startup, it's called Sober Gen Z. That startup, its
Wow.
goal is to make people quit alcohol more than it is to make money. But you know what? If I can make money while helping people quit alcohol, then please let that happen. So what is yours? Mine is
Absolutely.
have good impact and make money. What is yours? I want to leave something behind. That's what it is. What about you?
Damn. Become great, seek the truth, and be happy.
I like
I
that.
don't know. It's not the greatest answer, to be honest.
No, no, no.
I'm
It
still
is.
trying to figure it out,
Personal.
man.
It's personal.
I
So
think my real answer is like, I'll know that when I'm wiser. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have everything figured out either. I'm fucking 20 years old.
20 years.
So, yeah, that's what I'd say, man. But you got it dialed in, you know? You got it dialed in. I like that.
No, but I think that I absolutely agree with you. Every setting or worldview and paradigm can really change with time. So I absolutely agree that
Yeah.
you might not know what your legacy might be. Maybe my legacy in 20 years will be I want to leave behind 17 children and have my own army of children. So,
Dude, you know what's funny though? Like, I don't think about legacy that much, which is pretty interesting. Like,
oh,
I
okay.
don't care because I don't believe that legacy is something that lasts. Because
Hmm.
if people say, "Oh my God, I'm gonna be remembered for this, I'm gonna be remembered for that," but it's like, bro, after like a bajillion years, you're not going to be remembered. Like, no,
After
do you guys
20 years,
remember
you won't
like
be
the
remembered.
first, yeah, bro, even 20 years fucking, like, do you guys know like who like invented the mouse? Like who invented this? Or like who invented the glass bottle? Like we don't know. You know what I mean?
Fair
It's
enough.
just like, and I think you know what I kind of resonate with like Kanye's statement, which is like, I want to be like the sidewalk, you know, or I want to be like the creator of the sidewalk. Like nobody knows who made that sidewalk, but like it's extremely useful and it's extremely beneficial for society, where it's
Yeah.
like generating value even after they have passed away. I think that I want to make that, you know, I want to build something like that that lasts even when nobody remembers me. I think that's a legacy well lived. People, I think maybe it's almost like a redefining a legacy, right?
But That's a
Building
very
something that.
that's a very
Mhm,
altruistic way of putting things, and I absolutely love that about you too.
mhm,
I noticed that now. You don't
mhm.
as much care about leaving behind something which is connected to your name, but instead just leaving behind something. And I like that. I think that's
Oh, I think in the no, no, no. I think whilst I'm alive, I definitely give a shit about that. I
oh
do
yeah, of
care about being
course. I'm talking about
famous.
leaving it
But what
behind.
I'm saying, when I'm dead, I know it won't matter. So I don't have a choice. You get what I
Yeah.
mean?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, that's very interesting. That's very interesting.
Hmm.
Tell me, Tim, this is one of the last questions. Now that you've kind of have a lot of stuff figured out, right? I want to ask you, what role will your you've dropped out of university. What role will this have on your future, considering that now that you're out of university, you know that a lot of career paths that were open to you are completely
Mm.
gone. You know,
Oh
now
my
maybe
God.
you're risking something,
Are we trying to run this debate again? All
No,
right,
no.
buddy. Let's run
Look,
it. Let's
I'm
run
interested to hear your
it.
perspective. Not because I
Yeah.
disagree with it, although I do, and instead because I want to see the other side of the picture, you know?
Right. You want to
So,
get a little bit influenced, huh? Okay, fair enough. I think that's complete bullshit. My mom went through that exact same rationale. Okay.
straight to the point.
They're like, oh my God, your career paths are all closed. You're so screwed, blah, blah. Like, no. And I know this because I am a business owner.
Hmm.
So I'm the one giving the jobs, I'm the one giving the careers, and I know what I look for. Okay? And when I think about what I look for, I don't give a freaking darn about what people have on their resumes. Or I don't really give a freaking damn about what university they went to. Although, sure, I'm not gonna lie here and say like it's not a plus, right? It's not a benefit for a certain thing, right? Okay. But the thing is, I personally, and I'm going to talk about me and I'm going to talk about the market after this as well, the hiring market.
Yes.
Okay. Right. So for me specifically, I look more at the person, right? I look more at how gritted or how mentally strong they are. I look more at like if they hit my values and cultures that I want in my company. I care more about if they're going to be able to execute on the skills and the things that they need to do in that role. Okay. And when I'm looking for those things, where in that says UC Berkeley?
Mm.
Where in that specifically says Stanford? It doesn't. Okay? And now here's the difference though. I am hiring more for like a startup role. Okay? I'm hiring more for people that want to grow with me and are more like starting to build things with like less of an established framework. Okay, versus this is true. Like let's say for instance, a large like JP Morgan, right? Or like a large university, or sorry, like a large business, like an enterprise,
Yeah.
something like a Goldman Sachs, right? Something like
Yeah.
a consulting firm like McKinsey, for sure. That I would have a much lower chance of getting into
Yeah.
and being hired at because I didn't go to because I didn't finish my UCLA degree,
Yeah.
right? If I finished my UCLA degree in business, then I would probably have a higher chance of getting into
Oh,
those
absolutely. It's not
jobs.
probably.
Okay,
It's 100% higher chance.
right, 100%. But the thing
I mean,
is, I
look,
don't want those.
the fact is, it is
All
100.
right, well, let's go, bro. Let's go. Not play.
No, I'm kidding. But yeah, I agree with what you're saying, but also, of course, the chance would be higher. But maybe that's not your goal, you
Yeah,
know? That's not your goal. Maybe
exactly.
you're
That's
an
what I was going to get into
entrepreneur instead
next.
of a business
Mhm,
investment banker, you know? So, yeah.
mhm. Yes, but it's not about even like entrepreneurship or not, because I actually think that people that don't have these university degrees can get a lot more roles, in fact, than somebody that does have a university degree. Here's why. Okay, because sure, let's say I have my UCLA degree, and I'm going to continue on with this UCLA degree, and then I go to McKinsey or go to these large consulting firms, or if I want to be a business banker or whatever, that's fine. Okay, I could go there and have a higher chance of getting it. But the thing is, A, I don't want those roles. B, those like specific companies hire for those roles, and you have to really think like who you are. You know what I mean? Because a lot of like the people that actually are fucking dialed in and like are more like us entrepreneur types who kind of like just want to go at it on our by ourselves, you would have to think like because I've seen those companies how they operate. In fact, like I listen to podcasts like Acquired or the Acquired podcast, right? Or like Business Breakdown.
Mhm.
These break down, they're like 4 hour, 5 hour podcasts that like break down entire large, massive companies, which I actually recommend a lot of people listen to.
Yeah.
They're very useful. Like they break down NVIDIA, or like they break down all the departments of like Microsoft. They get like an employer, like an investor in those companies, and like they break those down, right? But the thing is, like when they talk about those companies, and I know because like I actually have like a few friends like working at those companies as well. My friend, for instance, the guy I told you about Brown, he works at Bank of America, right? They talk about like how bureaucratic it is, right? Like in order to get one freaking thing done, one project done, you have to like click on a few, you have to click on a few buttons, great, and you have to like pass it off to another person, then another person, then another person, then another person, then another person,
Yeah.
who then finally approves it, and or doesn't approve it, and then you're like fucking 2 months of just wasting your time trying to get this one project just approved to even get started.
Yeah.
Then it finally allows you to finish it. And while you're working, they're like, do you really want to work in that type of environment? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's like, that is what those university graduates tend to get into. That's fine. Some people thrive in those environments. I found that personally for me, and a lot of people are probably watching this podcast, and maybe even you, Louis, that isn't a fit,
Maybe.
right?
Maybe.
And it's like, even on top of that, who wants to make more money, right? Because like even you, Lewis, you're talking about like, okay, my goal is to make more money and live and whatever. The big thing there though is like making that a large sum of money. Um, in order to do that in like that freedom way, you know what I mean? Because like I've met people that make a lot of money as investment bankers
Yeah.
who have gone through that traditional
True.
path and like do make a lot of money doing that, right? They're like closing large deals.
They lack
They make a
freedom.
lot of money, fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like they're working 24/8, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're working 25/8.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
And exactly. And like there's no freedom in that. Versus like with what I can do, I can literally not work that much right now. I could like drop probably my hours to like 3-5 hours a day and still make a good fucking load of money. But I don't want to, right? Because I do like the grind, but also like the grind in a way where I am allowed to do what I want.
And it
I
pays
can
off.
choose that freedom.
It pays off. 'Cause
And
you're not working for
exactly, and
anyone
it pays
else.
off.
You're working for yourself. You're autonomous.
Exactly.
Absolutely. I agree. I totally agree.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that tends to only occur when you take this sort of entrepreneurial route where you don't go into those universities and you kind of just fucking find your own path.
Yeah.
And and you talked about the job thing too, right? Sure. Those jobs are gone. Sure. Like dentist, doctor, whatever, gone. Then again, I could go back to school and get it again. Who knows? You could always do that.
Theoretically.
However, the thing is, the jobs that are open are actually a lot better because once again, what I say, the startups like me or the software companies or whatever, they hire for those people that are more like just ready to fucking get it, like dropped out,
Yeah, like
gangsta mode,
SaaS.
and just
Yeah,
like at it. Exactly, right? If you see like Cluely recently, or like WAP hires like 20-something-year-olds.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Even school.com, like all those guys, like they hire like young kids. And those environments, it's not really fit for somebody who's like that bureaucratic type either.
Mm.
And so I think ultimately what I would say is it depends on the type of person you are. You know what? I don't even fucking say it depends on person. I think everybody wants freedom. And I think people that are in that bureaucratic realm, they've like psyoped themselves to think that that lack of freedom is what they desire. I think that's bullshit. And I know because I sell courses to these people of like how to get out of those 9 to 5s. And so all these people don't like it. So it's like, what are you even doing? You know what I mean? I'm not gonna even take a depending or it depends stance. I'm gonna go binary mode. I think that's bullshit.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that, man. And also, I just want to mention, like, good for you as well. Like, you really have your whole worldview very set in stone, very clear. I think it's amazing. So, congratulations to you that you have that all figured out at such a young age. I aspire to also have that figured out when I'm 20, and that's just 3 years from now. Anyway,
Mm.
thank you very much for your time, Tim.
Yeah.
I absolutely have to get in contact with you after this. I'll send you an Insta follow so we can continue talking because A, I want to finish off the debate with you, but B, I just generally enjoy talking to you and learning from you. Etele, do you want to add in anything? Thank you very much
No,
again.
I do really appreciate you for like doing this podcast
Absolutely.
with us and like taking your time for this. So yeah, I do wanted to like mention that
No
again.
worries.
And yeah, thanks for your time.
Thank you very
Sounds
much.
good. All right, see you guys. Peace.
All right.
Yeah.
Bye.
Peace out.